Hello everyone. Welcome to the next lecture of Neoplasia lecture series. We have seen the introductory aspects of the cancer, introductory aspect of neoplasia. As we all know, the neoplasia broadly classified into benign and malignant. Now, what is malignant neoplasm and how the malignant neoplasm occur in our body, and what are the host defense mechanism which is active in our body, that we will see in our subsequent two lectures. The malignant neoplasm, the occurrence of the malignant neoplasm, the occurrence of the cancer is known as carcinogenesis. As I've told in my last lecture, in the end of the slide, the small hyperplastic nodule will converted into the adenoma, and it converts into the adenocarcinoma, and then it metastasizes. So whole process of developing a cancer is known as carcinogenesis. Now, how the carcinogenesis occur? What are the things which are important for the carcinogenesis? What are the reasons of carcinogenesis? What are the etiological factors for the malignant transformation of any tumor or any tissue is a whole complex process that we will see in this lecture. Cancer, the Hippocrates was the first to use the word cancer. Cancer word literally derived from the Greek literature. The carcinos, that means a crab. The growth of cancer is a crab-like. From there, the term has come cancer. Cancer means malignant tumor. What is the natural history of malignant tumor? Any malignant tumor, any malignant change in the target cell referred to as transformation. The cell which is normal and then transformed into the malignant change. Growth of that transformed cells, the change which has occurred into those cells, they start growing. The growth is autonomous and uncoordinated. That means it causes the local invasion and then the distant metastasis. So this is a history, or this is a step of the malignancy, or steps of the malignant change, malignant tumor, how they grow and how they behave. So first, this normal cell or target cell will transform. That transformed cell will grow, and that cell which is having abnormal growth locally invade and then go to the distant site of metastasis. Now, how does a growth control occur in our body? See, there's a stem cells, any carcinogen which affects those target cells, those stem cells or those tissue cells, that lead to the proliferation. Now, if the growth control mechanism of our body is normal, then that proliferation will be converted into apoptosis, and that the growth of the cell will not go into the malignant change or into the abnormal growth. So we have growth regulators in our body. Those are known as growth proto-oncogenes, growth suppressor or tumor suppressor gene, genes which are controlling apoptosis, and gene which are controlling DNA repair. So these are the genes which are very important in a cell cycle, which procures the balance between the proliferation, the growth of the cells, and the apoptosis. When these all four growth control mechanism gets mutated, the genes get mutated, then the neoplasia occur. So if it goes in this way, if it goes here, if it goes here, the proliferation occur due to any mechanism. The growth control system is okay, then it goes to the apoptosis. But the growth control system is mutated, then the neoplasia occur. So when there is a balance, the things are normal. When the imbalance, that can lead to neoplasia and that can lead to malignancy. Now, non-neoplastic growth is polyclonal and neoplastic growth is a monoclonal. Monoclonal means the stem cell of same progeny gets multiplied. So that is known as a monoclonal. Polyclonal is non-neoplastic. The non-neoplastic growth is a polyclonal. If there is a simple hyperplasia, simple hypertrophy, atrophy, dysplasia, which is not converted into the malignant change, all these are the polyclonal and non-neoplastic growth disorders. When it when it is a benign, neoplasia has occurred, and if that benign neoplasia has converted into the malignant neoplasia, those both benign and malignant, both of them are monoclonal and they are in the irreversible state. This diagram shows cell division control. This is a diagram, schematic diagram of the cell cycle, the cycle which causes cell division. The main mother cell goes into the 4 phases, G1, S, G2 and F phase, and the another new daughter cell is formed. This is a cell cycle, how the cell divides and it is regulated. Cell division is regulated by 2 types of regulators, positive regulators and negative regulators. The positive regulators are the growth promoting regulators. See, the growth promoter genes, which are positive regulators of G1 phase, are cyclin D, cyclin E, CDK4, CDK2. Similarly, in a S phase, these are the growth promoter regulators, growth promoter genes. So these are the growth promoter genes, they are known as positive regulator. And these are the growth suppressor genes, they are known as negative regulator. The balance between these two can lead to the normal cell division and the normal cell proliferation. The cell does not over-proliferate, overgrow, and cell does not go into the extensive apoptosis due to balance between these two regulators. Carcinogenesis occur at any point the gene mutation occur in a positive regulator or in a negative regulator that causes the imbalance between positive regulator and the negative regulator, the disbalance between growth promoter gene and growth suppressor gene that lead to carcinogenesis. There are few factors, epidemiological factors or the etiological factors, which is considered under the reason of or the cause of cancer. Certain familial and genetic factor, some racial and geographic factor, environmental factors, cultural factor. The eating habits it comes under the cultural factor. Age and gender. These are the predisposing factors which can be the curtain behind the cancer growth. Certain non-neoplastic chronic conditions like some benign tumors, some other miscellaneous conditions like a dysplastic condition of the oral mucosa. These are the precancerous conditions which can lead to cancer. Certain hormones like estrogen, contraceptive hormone, anabolic steroids, these can cause neoplasia. These are the predisposing etiological factors which are considered that it is causing cancer, but it is still not proven that what causes the cancer. Cancer is a genetic disease. The genetic injury may be inherited in the germline or it may be acquired in the somatic cells. These tumors are monoclonal, the progeny of the single and genetic altered progenitor cells. So the progeny is of the singly genetically altered progenitor cells. The tumors which occurs from the single progenitor cells, they are known as monoclonal tumors, and mostly the cancers are monoclonal. Now, carcinogen means the factors which are causing carcinogenesis. They are known as carcinogens. What are the carcinogens? They are the substance known to cause the cancer, and it produces increase in the incidence of the cancer in animals as well as in the humans. Cause of most of the cancer is mostly unknown. Why? Because it is a multifactorial disease process. There are many multifactors which is important for the origin of the cancer. Known carcinogenic agents constitute the small percentage of cases, and the environmental agents play 95% of the cancer. They are those environmental agents which are still unidentified. So the 95% of the carcinogens or the cause of carcinoma is yet not known. Still, we know that there are certain substances which can cause cancer. Chemical carcinogens are directly acting carcinogens like alkylating agent, cyclophosphamide. Some procarcinogens which needs activation but still it can cause cancer, like benzpyrene, which can lead to the cancer. Aromatic amines, dyes like benzidine, which may cause urinary bladder cancer. Aflatoxin, which can cause GI cancer. Certain substances like vinyl chloride or turpentine, which may cause the cancers of upper aerodigestive tract. But still, these are the proven carcinogens that we know that this can cause cancer. This have some role in development of the cancer. You all know this. At that time, everybody was depressed because we thought that the Maggie will know more after 2015. So at that time, monosodium glutamate is found in the Maggie, and the lead poisoning was the first risk factor in the Maggie, which was carcinogenic. So this is also the example of chemical carcinogens. Biological carcinogens like certain virus and bacterial infection which can cause cancer. HPV, that is human papilloma virus, which can cause cervical carcinoma. Epstein-Barr virus, they can cause B-cell lymphoma or nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Kaposi sarcoma, which is very common with the HIV infection. Herpes virus can also cause Kaposi sarcoma. Hepatitis B and hepatitis C viruses are known to cause hepatocellular carcinoma. Human T-cell leukemia virus, HTLV-1, can cause T-cell leukemia. So these are the certain viruses which causes cancer. There are certain DNA viruses and RNA viruses which can cause cancer. These are known as biological carcinogens. There are certain bacterial infections. Like if a H. pylori sitting in your stomach watching a TV can cause gastric carcinoma. That means if the Helicobacter pylori infection is chronic in your stomach, then it can cause gastric carcinoma. Certain parasites like Schistosoma hematobium can cause squamous cell carcinoma of bladder, like C. senesis that can cause cholangiocarcinoma. So certain viruses, certain parasites, infection strongly associated with the cancer. Radiation carcinogen. Radiant energy in a form of UV rays in the sunlight or in a form of ionizing radiation. Both of them are dangerous and they can cause carcinogens. Sunlight exposure can cause skin cancers, while ionizing radiation can lead to certain other variety of form of neoplasia. This ionizing radiation exposure occur as an occupational hazard. Like the radiologist is more prone to this type of exposure. The person who is working in a nuclear plant can be prone to this type of cancer. So these are the radiation carcinogens. The important note is that the carcinogenesis is caused by the mutation of the genetic material. Now, genetic material mutation occur in a normal cells, and one genetic mutation most of the time not suffice to cause the cancer. More than one mutation is necessary for the carcinogenesis. This results in an uncontrolled cell division and it leads to the cancer formation or it leads to the malignant tumor formation. See, when you see this diagram, what you see is there are multiple mutations occur. These are the normal cells. When there is a first mutation, certain type of changes occur in those cells. Then there is a second mutation. Every time there is some new feature is added into the normal cells. When there is a third mutation, this behavior and morphology, function, everything is changed. And when there is a fourth mutation, it has become ugly malignant cells. So when you see that the first mutation, it may not be very effective. It may not cause the cancer. But after a fourth mutation, it leads to malignancy. Whole these cells are clonal. They are from the one parent. Though they look different due to different mutation, their features are different, their functions are different, but they are clonal. They are monoclonal. They are from the one parent. Each mutation causes new feature and ultimately the multiple mutation lead to the cancer. Mutation of the gene play a vital role in the cell division. As I've shown you in a cell division cycle, you have seen that so many genes are positive regulators and negative regulators. The mutation of the gene regulating apoptosis and a DNA repair will cause the cell to lose the control of its cell proliferation. Cancer is fundamentally the disease of dysregulation of a cell growth. The regulation of the cell growth is imbalanced that lead to cancer. Which type of mutations commonly occur when a normal cell is transformed into the malignant cell? At that time, many types of genetic mutation occur. One is deletion and gain of the portion of the chromosome. That means deletion or addition of the portion of the chromosome which leads to some genetic mutation. Genomic amplification. That means cell gain is so many that is often more than 20 copies that leads to the other genomic information which is known as genomic amplification. The example of genomic amplification is neuroblastoma with NMYC-HSR region. The NMYC-HSR region causes genomic amplification that leads to neuroblastoma. The chromosomal alteration that result in an increased number of the copies of the gene is found in some solid tumors. That is known as genomic amplification. See, this is something schematically shown to you. Like one original is I will be by the lake. This is the information. First point mutation occur. There is some problem in a spelling. The THE is changed by THW, but still we can make out what is the message. After second point mutation, the L is replaced by C. The whole message is changed. I will be by the cake. So that means the whole message has been changed. That means the whole function, the morphology of a cell is changed. What is nonsense mutation? That means there is some deletion or some gaining occur in the genomic sequences which may lead to no sense. That means no message is clear. I will be by what you don't know. And in a frame shift mutation, not at all. You cannot make out that what has happened to this. And most of the time, the last mutation is a frame shift mutation which may lead to occurrence of the malignancy. After deletion, genomic amplification, nonsense mutation, frame shift mutation, point mutation, one more type of mutation occur that is known as translocation. That means the one part of the chromosome goes to the other part of the chromosome and it forms the fusion protein. Most common example of this is Philadelphia chromosome, which causes CML, chronic myelogenous leukemia. The BCR-ABL fusion protein is formed like this. When you see this, you see very nicely that this is a BCR locus. The below locus will go to the ABL and the ABL locus will come, and here the BCR-ABL hybrid gene is formed. This can cause chronic myelogenous leukemia. This is known as Philadelphia chromosome. This is the example of translocation. Now certain information about the mutation. The normal is beast. The substitution mutation means the B is replaced by F, then it is feast. Insertion, that means the extra alphabet or the extra genetic sequence is added and the extra message is there, and that has totally changed the meaning. That is, the beast has converted into breast. Then deletion, the one A is removed and the beast has become best. And inversion, the T and S has been inverted, the beast has become beats. So these are the different examples of the genetic mutation, how the genetic sequences is changing due to the mutation, that you should know. There are 4 classes of the gene. They are known as a regulatory gene. Some of them are promoters. They are growth promoters. They are known as proto-oncogenes. Inhibitors, that means a cancer suppressor genes. P53 is a very common cancer suppressor gene. Gene which are regulating apoptosis and gene which are causing DNA repair. DNA is repaired during the cell cycle division. So in this, these are the 4 regulatory genes. If any one of this gene is mutated, which leads to the unregulated growth of the cells, which can cause neoplasia and cancer. So when we see there's a normal cells, how does it progress into the malignant neoplasm? There is some mutation occur. If there is a successful DNA repair, the DNA repair genes are properly working. At that time, the damage of the DNA is successfully repaired and the cell will be normal. But if there is some mutation occur and there is a failure of the DNA repair, that may lead to activation of either growth promoting oncogenes or alteration in the regulation of the apoptosis or inactivation of the cancer suppressor gene. All these mechanisms can lead to clonal expansion and that lead to heterogeneity of the tumor cells, and tumor cells will grow inadvertently, and it causes the malignant neoplasm. Now these mutations at any level occur. They can occur at the level of DNA repair. They can occur at the level of the growth promoting oncogenes. They can occur at the level of regulating the genes which are regulating apoptosis, or at the level of the cancer suppressor gene. This whole can lead to the uncontrolled, uncoordinated, autonomous growth, that is neoplasia. There are certain theories of carcinogenesis, like genetic theories, like epigenetic theory, immunosurveillance theory. That means the tumor immunity is there in a host. A host is having a defense mechanism, but that defense mechanism, the malignant cell, escapes from that immunosurveillance, and monoclonal hypothesis. But it is known that one theory is not sufficient to cause the carcinogenesis. More than one theory, like a genetic mutation with the immunosurveillance theory, the genetic mutation and the immunosurveillance escape, these two can lead to the malignant neoplasm. So in this way, the one theory is not as a whole can cause one malignant tumor, but more than one theory is important for the understanding of the carcinogenesis. I think this class has become very boring. It is boring for me too, and it is complicated as well. The carcinogenesis, to understand the carcinogenesis is very complex. What are the genetic mutation and what are the carcinogens which are important for the carcinogenesis, that we have seen in this lecture. So we will continue this lecture. I think what we have started, that frisk, we have to continue, but we will continue in our next lecture. What are the inside villains of the cancer, that we will see in our next class. Thank you.